Let's break down this leaked CIA reporting for what it actually is, and more importantly, what it's not. Beyond the fact that this is leaked intelligence to a mainstream media news outlet, it is also only giving you a piece of the report as through the lens of the writer. And so, right off the bat, you should be skeptical of its actual veracity. But on top of that, all it's doing is giving you the bits and pieces that sound the worst, as in the worst case scenario of a report, instead of giving you the totality of the information within that report. And so, on top of it only citing the worst case scenario as far as numbers and capability, it is framing it as if because Iran is not totally collapsed in the last 60 days, that somehow the US is losing. And that's not at all what the report was saying. A serious intelligence report is supposed to identify remaining capability, risk, and worst case scenario endurance. Saying Iran may still have 70% missile capability and thousands of drones still remaining does not mean that Iran is winning. It means that Iran has been preparing for this type of war its entire 47 years, and it was to be expected. It's not as if this was a surprise. On top of that, these numbers are mere estimates based off of parts of information that they've gathered on top of just worst case scenario guesses. And yes, believe it or not, in the absence of any information at all the intelligence community will do is paint you a hypothetical and give you fictional numbers. And so while it is important to know what their capabilities currently are, the better question is whether how much of those capabilities were degraded. And on every metric, the degradation has been significant, from launchers to storage facilities to the ability to produce more material and more weapons and more equipment, to communicate, to provide food and water and medicine to their soldiers, to be able to replace and replenish fuel, oil, and lubricants. All of this, and to include their financial networks and money stored away, all of it has been extremely degraded, if not outright completely depleted. Even this media report and all previous intelligence reports acknowledge that the blockade is having real significant damage across all sectors of the IRGC and their capability to conduct war. And the 120-day point, or extending into the end of the year as being a survival capability over the United States, is not a point of strength. It is a point of weakness. It is putting a time frame and, more importantly, a limit on the IRGC's ability to ration their time before their complete and utter surrender and collapse, compared to the United States' overpowering might and its limited political will. And when we're talking about pure inventory of their missiles or their drones, that is not the important number. The important number is their capability to launch them. So more importantly would be how many launchers they have left and how many launchers of drone sites do they have that are available to them. That is the more important number, and that also has been severely degraded. And the DIA report reflects that this is a real outcome of the assessment of the numbers. It honestly doesn't matter how many bullets you have. If you don't have a gun to fire them, then they're really nothing. They're useless. So the honest assessment is this, is that Trump may be overstating how close Iran is to collapse, but the counter-argument that this article suggests is overstating Iran's resilience. Iran is not defeated, but is severely damaged, constrained, and forced to conduct workarounds. That is not proof that the U.S. strategy has failed. To the contrary, it's proof that the U.S. strategy is working and that Iran still remains a threat after being hit hard. So the correct conclusion is not that Iran can outlast America. That's just ridiculous. The correct conclusion is that Iran still has enough residual capacity and capability to remain a threat. Which is exactly why continued pressure, interdiction, escort operations, sanctions, and continuing targeting matter. And will definitely continue on into the foreseeable future, or at least until the outcome of the meeting with Trump and President Xi. That will be the next major milestone in this endeavor to neuter the IRGC and to open the international waters of the Strait of Hormuz.